Hey, so in this video, you are going to discover all the ins and outs of selling or buying Amazon businesses. Why to do it, how it works, what's the pitfalls, the process, etc. So hopefully this video is going to be useful for you. By the end of the video, you understand how the process works. And if you want to sell a business, you know how it works. And if you want to buy a business, you'll also understand how it works. Also in the description, I'm going to leave forms, Google Forms, that will allow you to contact our guests from SellerSpot, Shai and Omer, if you'd like to buy or sell an Amazon business. We're going to have Google Forms for that in the description. And we've recorded many videos with the guys before, and I'm glad to have them back with us on the channel. Shai, Omer, could you please introduce yourselves? And then we're going to kind of get into the video. I have some questions for you, and let's go.
I'm Shai from SellerSpot. Also here with us is Omer, and we have been dealing with buying and selling Amazon businesses for the past 5 years. And we know a lot of people online have some questions about how it's done and different, processes that can be done in order to sell or buy a business. So we are here to clarify everything and let you know exactly what you need.
Yeah, I'm going to say also thank you for you guys for helping many people from our community already with the kind of selling, buying processes. So I appreciate that. And that's pretty awesome. And let's get into things. So why should we even sell our Amazon business? Like if it's profitable or not profitable?
Okay, great question. So this is something that's been going on for years, buying and selling Amazon businesses. It's still going on today, though it's shifted in many ways. And most Amazon businesses today, let's be honest, they're less profitable for many different reasons. There's more competition. Amazon freight has been increased. PPC costs have risen dramatically. Shipping costs, almost everything is more expensive today. Tariffs, of course. So ultimately, if you're not able to lower your cost prices, you're probably making less and less, every year.
Yeah, so like Omer said, it's pretty much any aspect of the business that's gotten more expensive, whether it's shipping, product, fees, almost anything. So if you ran an Amazon business 5-10 years ago, most chances it was more profitable. And of course, there's inflation, and it always happens when price rise, and you need to either increase your prices, reduce your costs, but you cannot stay just sleeping and not catching up to what's going on in the market. You have to adjust yourself. And yeah, for all of those reasons, it's a reason to sell. If you're less profitable and you don't see how you can manage to turn this around, then you might better off capitalize on what you have, which this leads me to the next reason, which is when you build a successful business, it's hard work. It's a lot of failures along the way, and you've built something that is profitable right now, and it's making money. You never know what can happen in the future, and sometimes you just want to capitalize on what you built. So it's worth something now. You want to take advantage of that. Maybe you take your money, you invest it in other businesses, in other types of investments. It can be anything, but that's also a reason a lot of people are not considering. They're thinking, yeah, it's making money right now, so why would anyone want to sell it? Well, it's still a possibility to take this money and do other things with it. So that is another option. People have other opportunities. We just had a seller that has a profitable business right now. She's selling it with us currently, and she opened another business while she was running the Amazon business, and it became much more successful. And now she wants to move on to that business, and she has no use in the Amazon business anymore. So there can be different reasons for it, and yeah, that's important. And another important note, which Omer, I think, can agree with me, I think 90%, 80% of the business that wants to sell and come to us, a lot of them are in a bad situation compared to where they was in the past. So they're thinking about selling when things go wrong, not when it's going well. And that's usually when you get a lower evaluation.
Yeah, because you mean if it's going well, it means there's might be a higher multiplier for the kind of for the business. It means we
Right.
can be sold for higher price. People are thinking, oh, I'm on the wave now. Why don't I continue? And rightfully so, it might continue, but it might not. And then when it goes down, people are hesitating, but the multiplier is not as high already. So gotta find that right spot, right?
Exactly. And in most cases, we do see the businesses, they depreciate over time. It is extremely hard uh, to continue growing an Amazon business. And we all have products that we try, and they're less successful. We try
Yeah.
things with PPC, and it doesn't work. We want to get a higher ranking, and it doesn't always work. We all have problems, with logistics and shipping issues and things that are getting lost and reimbursements. We haven't even discussed that.
Ooh,
You hardly get anything today from reimbursements.
true.
And another thing, it's almost impossible today to get better cost prices uh, from the factory. Everything has increased over the years.
Yeah. Well, the only way to kind of keep going, also based on my experience, somewhat is if possible, through data we have now, we can try to improve our listings. We can, if we're lucky and our reviews are in good situation, and I mean we have like decent rating, we can try to raise prices. And again, it depends on the niche. Sometimes it's not that easy to raise prices because
Exactly.
it's already saturated, and it just the market is just not gonna, you might raise it, but because there's so much competition, you might not even be able to do that. So yeah, so that's interesting. Kind of leads me to the next question. If in this case, it sounds pretty dark, right? Kind of. Who
Yeah, it
buys
sounds
these
very
businesses?
pessimistic,
Why,
but
why people buy the businesses then?
yeah,
uh,
so there's just like the question of why sell the business, there's different reasons to why you want to buy a business, but the main reason is you think you're going to get your investment back and make more money. That's what every potential buyer thinks and plans. They want to invest a certain amount of money in the business, grow it, and have it making more than what it used to make in the past.
mhm.
And for a lot of people, they already have businesses, online businesses, Amazon businesses in a specific niche. Let's say, for example, you have different businesses in the supplements niche, and then you find an Amazon business that sells supplements. You can use your connections and what you already have to implement this business into your network. Maybe with your connections, you can find better suppliers. Maybe you can grow the Amazon business using other sales channel that you already have. So that's something that people always like to do when they buy a business. And in general, it saves you time. People save you the headache and time of setting up the business, building the relationship with the supplier, creating a brand, all of those
And
things.
a lot of the times, just like there are people that are looking to get out of Amazon, there's always people that are still looking to get into Amazon. Okay, that hasn't changed. Okay, and yeah, a lot of the sellers, they get tired with running the same business for years. Okay, and on the other hand, there are potential buyers that look at this as an opportunity. Okay, and they see the brand and they say, "Hey, I believe that I can take this to a better place and do better things with it." And a lot of the times that's true.
Yeah, we have personally seen many buyers that bought businesses from us grow them to be much bigger than what they used to, and we also seen ones that wasn't able to do it very well. So there's both
Yeah, of
sides, and there's always risk involved. But when you
course.
buy something that's already working and profitable, it really saves you a lot of time, and you start to make money from day one.
Hmm. Yeah, again, in description, as I mentioned previously, there's forums for those who want to see if there's potential businesses for sale right now with the guys from SellerSpot, or if they want to sell their business as well. So there's going to be two forms for selling a business and for buying one. Yeah, and I understand. Like, so those who are buying, basically, they see an opportunity. Maybe they see a niche where they know that they have the ability maybe to improve again the reviews of the product, for example. Maybe they have a system for that, let's say, or generally they see that there's some gaps in the product development and they see how can they improve it, or maybe they have like, I don't know, social media following so they can blast some traffic and, you know, grow the sales this way or not. Or maybe they have a strong affiliate network that they can put these products into and start generating sales and kind of make this business be better. So, well, pretty cool. Yeah, that kind of explains why people buy businesses. And also, Omer, I think I had you like first time for this topic. I think it's 2021. So it's been 5 years, I think, or maybe 2022. What changed in the industry since then? Like since we first spoke about buying and selling businesses, what changed since then, if you may share?
Well, a lot of things. There's more competition today. It's harder and more expensive, much more, to start a new Amazon business today. I started back in 2015. I think I invested like, I don't know, maybe $2,000 to $3,000 in my first product.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do anything with that today. We're talking much, much, much higher numbers. Just to give it a try with the product, you need today, I don't know, I would say at least $20,000 to $50,000, to give it a shot. A lot of people don't have that, and they're not willing to sacrifice that. So this is another, great option, taking something that already exists. And by the way, we're also talking about businesses that are not profitable anymore. Okay. But it's important to point that out. We're talking also about businesses that were maybe profitable in the past, but
Mm-hmm.
today, for many diverse reasons, they're not anymore. There's still a market for that as well. Okay. There are potential buyers that do see the upside to that. Okay. And it's still easier than starting from scratch. And in most cases, cheaper as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I just want to add that, there was in 2021 when we did a video with Omer in the past, a big wave of different companies, which are called aggregators, which used to
Mm-hmm.
buy a lot of Amazon businesses back there for very, very high prices. We're talking about multiples that are very high compared to today. And what we've seen, because of all of the different things we mentioned here that's made Amazon harder, it also made it harder for them. If they buy 10 businesses, maybe more than half of them failed, if not all of them, because of those different reasons. So let's say you had 10% profitability for your income on Amazon, and tariffs raised your cost 10%, then you have no profit anymore. And that can happen in multiple different ways, either shipping, product cost, all of the things we mentioned. So it became such a high possibility to sell your business in 2021 because everyone was looking to buy, that right now it's pretty much gone more quiet. The multiples are lower compared to back then because people have realized what the actual chances of growing the business are, which is harder than it was. And what we're saying right now is that you really need to have a special business in order to get a very, very high multiple, like a patent or different things that we're going to touch later on in the video. But yeah, the industry has changed a lot. Multiples are lower, and investors wants to see more profitability and really a good business in order for them to give you an offer.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for sharing. What about non-profitable businesses? Like Omer touched on this, but
Yeah.
for example, let's say there's a business that literally is not profitable. There is a supply chain. There's PPC. Maybe it used to be profitable, but now due to competition, or maybe due to the seller not having the funds to make the most out of it, it's non-profitable. Can they be sold? Or
Yes,
do
so
people buy them?
100,
Like, yeah.
100% yes. We've
Mm-hmm.
sold many of these, and a lot of the times, because your head's too much in the business, sometimes you don't even see what you
Ooh.
need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just need, a fresh start from someone that sees things differently. They're willing to try things. They're willing to make changes that you weren't able to make. Uh, Launch new products. Get rid of old products that maybe once were profitable, but today they're eating up the business. They have better PPC strategies, much better logistics. So yeah, for sure. Those businesses are relevant as well. The more data that is from the past, okay, the better and the easier it is to sell them. A
Yeah,
lot
and
of
you
the
need
times
to.
I don't know, there's subscribers. A lot of the times there are other social media aspects
Mm-hmm.
that were left behind, and maybe someone new can come in and take it to a different level.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you do need to take into consideration that the price is going to be lower for a business that is not making any profit right now, and it might take a little longer than selling a profitable one. But almost any business, profitable or not, can have the right match. It's just, something that needs to be interesting for someone specific. Uh, but yeah, we are definitely here to help you sell those businesses as well. And like Vova said, we have the forms in the description. And contact us, give us some background information, link to the store, and we'll be happy to give you our honest review.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's free, by the
I
way.
want I
The
want to add some,
evaluation is free. Sorry, Omer, to
of
cut you.
course,
The
Yeah, of course.
evaluation is just
of
free for
course,
sellers. Nice,
correct.
nice. Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Yes.
I want to add something else here. When we're saying not profitable, let's be honest. In most cases, you're losing money. You're not break even. That's the honest truth. You don't take into consideration a lot of the costs you have. You see payments coming in from Amazon, okay, but you're not taking into consideration everything that you already paid for. You purchased the products months before, sometimes even longer than that.
Yeah.
Okay, in the past, okay, if you weren't profitable, you will break even. Today, okay, with warehouse costing in Amazon, okay, if your product doesn't sell well, you start paying for that inventory. You want to remove that inventory. It costs a lot today. This is not like it used to be. Okay, so break even, I would say that in most cases, it's not even break even. They're losing money every month.
Yeah. Selling
So
it
yeah,
is pretty much cutting this loss, which is,
exactly.
something that we see all the time. Right now, we have a business for sale of someone that is in contact with us, I think 4 years. Every year he comes to us, he wants to sell the business. The price that he's asking is way too high and not realistic. And throughout these 4 years, he didn't make any profit. When he first came to us, he was thinking the business is profitable. We told him, okay, let's look at the numbers. Please insert all of your expenses that he wasn't taking into consideration. And then he found out he's losing money. And it's not only in the last year, it's like 4 years that he's losing money. And he would have been so much better just selling the business and using this time and money for other things. And he only realized it now. So, you need to be honest with yourself and check the numbers. And only then, you can really make a decision and see where you stand.
Yeah, 100%. Also want to add to what Omer said. I think the long-term storage fees, they used to be after a year on Amazon. Now it starts being heavy after half a year. So inventory management became more complex. We're trying now to
Exactly.
send smaller shipments because we don't want to get into a position like before where we had quite a lot of products on Amazon. Yes, they would take some money for that, but still it would be comfortable. You could eat up that loss. Now it's like if you're going over this half a year, then you're getting way higher fees. Like I think it's still after a year it's way higher, but after half a year it already
Yes.
dramatically starts going up, right?
Yeah. But
So
it's
that's
hundreds of dollars. It can be like paying rent for a house you don't live in just for some products that are sitting there not selling. It's very high amounts. Yeah.
yeah, I agree. So things are not
And
getting easier for sure.
it's not only that. In the past we would just pick a warehouse that we want to send to, Okay, today you pay extra for sending to that one warehouse. And if you
True.
want to split the shipping, there are other costs involved in that as well. Okay, and you can't get around this.
Yeah.
It's definitely more expensive.
100%. Well, I guess the good news are that it's still possible to sell a business that's struggling. It's still possible. Of course, if it's not making huge profits, then probably the multiplier will be lower, but still, seller can at least strategically quit with some money. And I assume that I think we're going to talk about this in a bit, but the value of the inventory will be sold as well. So we're still holding inventory. Somehow this will be kind of compensated to us, I think, but we can talk about this. Which kind of is my next question. So how to increase the value of your business? So that would be my next question. I think we can touch on that here too.
Okay, so you touched something that's extremely important today, inventory. Okay, in the past, okay, basically what you would lose is your inventory cost. Okay, today you're able to lose way, way, way more than just that with all the cost related to the inventory that's either in 3PL, which is, by the way, way more expensive today, or in the different Amazon warehousing today. Okay, so you're able to lose way more than what you paid for the inventory. Okay, in some cases, destroying the inventory is cheaper than keeping it. I know it sounds crazy, but yes, sometimes keeping the inventory can cost you thousands, if not more than that, every month. And there's almost no way of making it back.
Yeah, I agree, and this also connects to how to increase the value, because a lot of sellers have different products that are sometimes not in stock. And when you're selling your business, a potential buyer wouldn't like the fact that some products are not in stock and you need to reorder them. And you need to make sure that the business is really working in the best capacity that you can make. And that means taking care of all the products that are profitable. If there's a product that is not profitable, remove it, destroy the inventory, take it out, do whatever makes more sense for you. But don't do these things after you start looking for a buyer and evaluating the business, because this really affects the value. Now, there's another thing which a lot of potential buyers really like, where it's not only an Amazon-based business. Let's say you have a Shopify website with an independent payment system, and you make money from that as well. It can be even very little, but it's still something that is separated from Amazon. Maybe you're selling on other marketplaces, on Walmart, on Etsy, on eBay. So other sales channels and assets, which an asset can also be an Instagram page with like 10,000 followers that can be used to move traffic into other sales channels. So the more assets and the more sales channels that you have, the more likely you would get a higher evaluation. Now, there's also this thing with patents and trademarks, which Omer, I would like you to elaborate on that. Like, how can the trademarks and patents can make the business?
Yeah, of course. So I would recommend anyone that's, first of all, anyone that's selling that has a private label business, whether it's on Amazon or anywhere, make sure you have a trademark. Make sure it's valid. Okay, even if you register one, they don't last forever. You have to renew them every few years. If we've had businesses that have, they come to us and the trademark is not valid anymore, and someone already registered it. Okay, that's crazy. Okay, so yeah, make sure that you keep them alive. Okay, I don't know, it's usually a few $100s every few years.
Yeah.
Go to the USPTA, make sure that it's still there, it's still alive. Brand registry is not a trademark. Okay, let's be clear on that. Okay, I'm not even talking about patents. That's way, way, way more expensive, and there's a lot of value in them if you have any. Okay, so that's the first thing I would say to anyone, even before you want to come and sell. make sure you have a valid trademark.
Right. And another point, which is very important, and the business value is pretty much based on it, is your last 12 months profit, which is, so important because you could have made like $10 million of profit every single month 2 years ago, but right now you're making $1,000 profit per month. The price of the business is going to be mainly valued by your last year. So it's really important to make sure, are you in a decline? Are you growing every month? That's extremely important for the price of the business. A business that has shown growth year to year for the last 3 years, and a potential investor is looking at it and he sees, I can see it 1 year later growing more, or vice versa. It's totally different approaches to buying the business, and you're going to get a low offer if your business is declining. That's how it works. And yeah, it's very important to make sure your last 12 months profit are as high as you possibly can.
The best thing, and what we recommend to everyone, contact us, give us a call. We'll assist with that as well. Okay, we have a much better understanding of how it works, what people are looking for, and we can also assist you in what needs to be done right now. Okay, don't wait with it.
Yeah, you can contact
in order
us now
to increase the value of the business.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, I understand.
You can contact us now, and you only want to sell in 1 year from now. We'll give you the guidance of what you need to do for that sale to be the right way, and for you to maximize it.
Yeah, nice. It's like a long-term relationship. Like people come to you for evaluation. I mean, of course, if it's good right now, you can tell them like, look, you're in a good position.
Of course.
That's your opportunity. Let's go. Or you're gonna say like, well, honestly, like you can get this multiplier, but maybe if you want to wait a little and do this and that, then the multiplier might be higher, and people will appreciate that, and they probably will do the sale with you eventually because you gave them the tools, kind of the ideas, right? The guidance. So it's nice, smart. Yeah. So again, in the description, I'm going to have the forums to buy or sell Amazon businesses. And well, then the next question, it kind of is connected to the evaluation that we spoke about. Like, how does it happen? Like, how to even evaluate? Like, can a seller do it by themselves? Like, what do they do, or do they do it with you? What's the drill there? Like with evaluating, because like let's say a seller's making $100,000 a year in profit, let's say, based on their numbers. Maybe there's some mistakes or whatnot, but let's say, what do they do with it? How do they, like, yeah, how do they take it from there to
Okay,
sell
so
it?
usually what we need for initially we need a P&L, we need a link to the store. Sometimes we will also need user permission to check things. And we take it from there. Very simple.
Yeah, the P&L is very important because, like the story we told you before, where somebody thinks it's profitable, but he never did the calculations, then it's important to do it. There's many different softwares that you can use to connect to your Amazon account and just insert the cost of goods, and it would give you a clear picture of your profit and loss. So we first need to see, real proof of the numbers and what's really going on. And if you're a buyer and you want to buy a business, then we also have a form in the description for that. And you just need to let us know your requirements. Like, are you looking for anything specific? What is your budget? And we'll do our best to find the best fit.
Yeah, we're going to leave the forms in the description. How long would it usually take, like the process, for example, of selling and of buying? We can touch on both. How long, for example, if a seller today contacts you, or tomorrow, or in the next few days, let's say, how long will it take? And there's a chance to sell, for example. How long would it take?
It can be, in some cases where it's not a really large business, it can be a few days. We had deals that we closed in less than a week, and sometimes it takes a few months. If we see that it's not working and no one is interested, we either lower the price and we contact the seller to see what can be done. But usually anywhere from a few days to a few months. That's the time.
That's the
That's
usual
for
time frame,
selling.
yeah.
Yeah, that's for selling. And for
Yeah.
buying, how does it work for
Buying, it
buying?
can be instant because at any given point we have different Amazon businesses for sale. So if you're looking to buy one and you find a business that you like, then it can happen immediately pretty much. And of course, there's due diligence and different processes that
Yeah.
takes a few days, but the process is very straightforward and is pretty much instant.
Maybe I will follow up on that. Like, sellers might be a little bit hesitant with giving permissions or transferring money. Maybe you can explain that part a little bit. I mean, I know you guys are legit. We've been working for years, and thank you again for helping all the fellas in our communities. But still, sometimes they ask questions, and fair enough, they want to know, like, how does it work? Maybe when does the money get transferred? Is there an escrow, right? Something like that. Maybe you can
Yeah.
explain that point, please.
So we also work with different escrows. There's different companies and service providers that provide escrow services to keep both sides secure. Our name and reputation is pretty much very good in this industry, and a lot of people know us, seen the videos, and they feel comfortable to work with us directly. But we have different solutions for anything. We want you to feel comfortable and secured, and we will do whatever it takes to provide you this security. And we are here to make sure both sides are protected. A good deal is a deal where each side is getting what they're supposed to get, and they're happy with it, and everything is secure. That's the way that it needs to be done, and that's the way we do it.
Mhm. Awesome. So in the description, again, we're going to have the forums to buy or sell Amazon businesses. Viewers, sellers, contact the guys, let them know you came from this video. Of course, the forums will kind of be connected to this video in a sense, but maybe if you go to the website of the fellas, it would help if you mention my name, Bova Evan, and appreciate that. In case you do business with the guys, I'm going to get a little commission from the deal. And this helps me keep the content free here. We have no paid wall. We have no paid courses. Basically, we don't have any paid products in this informational business that I've been running for a few years. And affiliate kind of partnerships help us keep it alive, keep the videos alive, and even my camera that almost fell, helps it keep it all alive. So the links are going to be in the description. Guys, do you want to add something before we wrap up the video? Maybe something we didn't cover, maybe something I should have asked you and I haven't, something that's on your mind that we didn't cover in this video yet.
I would just like to say that some of the video might have sounded a little bit pessimistic, but we do see a lot of success stories. There's always people succeeding in both buying and selling. So, it's just that it's getting harder, but we would always love to give you our guidance and help with whatever we can. And
yeah, and we're being honest and realistic. It's a tough field, but it's doable.
Yeah, true. I try keeping it real with my videos as well, just sharing as it is, the hardships, the successes. But it's if you guys, Guy Helitz from RPG Ecom, I remember he mentioned one time, this is entrepreneurship hardcore, like Amazon business. He's a good fella. So
yeah, exactly.
So we're gonna end on a good note. Good luck to everyone. Again, or the forums to contact the fellas from SellerSpot in the description. Selling businesses or buying businesses, there's two forms. I'm gonna have it neatly explained in the description. Let's keep at it. Let's get to success and through hard times, let's pull through them. And there's no choice. We gotta keep going. Like. I mean, hopefully. So all the best to everyone. Thank you, Omer, Shai. Appreciate you guys, and wishing you a great day.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.